Thank you, my dear, honorable, almighty Savior, Minister Chun Singh. Now I can eat telur every day. It is always so painful for me to see my friends accepting the natural aristocracy argument. That Singapore should have leaders who talk down to us, who don't credit our intelligence, who keep telling us that if not for their enlightened brilliance, society would not have progressed. So I started looking around for examples of our 4G leaders disrespecting us. And I started to feel a bit like that mosquito in the nudist colony. Where do I even begin? I decided to focus on just one thing in this video, the 2017 reserve presidential election that saw Halimah Yacob win in a walkover. Now remember, I'm not critiquing Halimah the person here, but the process by which she got into office. First, the PAP amended the constitution. Why? Many people, including many PAP supporters, believe that the underlying motive was Tan Cheng Block. Now, we might never really know the real reason, but that's the perception out there. The PAP told us, of course, that it's all about affirmative action for Malays.
Because minorities do find it harder to win in a national election.
By doing this, the PAP somehow managed to irritate both Malays and non-Malays. My Malay friends were like, "You think we need special assistance or something? And some more, you think we are so bodoh that we don't realize the real reason you're doing it?" My non-Malay friends, meanwhile, many got really irritated that the Malays were getting special treatment and that Tan Cheng Bock wasn't given a fair chance. The constitutional change struck at the very heart of what it means to be Singaporean. Fair play, hard work, meritocracy, all buang, out the window. And of course, from non-Malays, the racism also began. "Makcik, nasi padang seller." Now these can be innocent words, but the context in which they were used turned them into racial slurs. That whole incident led to some of the worst racism I have seen in 43 years of living here. Yeah, 43 man, see? Kena the white hair already. Sialat. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the whole maneuver led to these crazy racial interrogations. Remember, Halimah's race on her IC is actually Indian. And so some of her supporters were trying to whitewash her Indian heritage off her Wikipedia page. Imagine what her late father might have thought, that on the day of my daughter ascending to the highest office in the land, some people were actually trying to erase her Indian heritage. Of course, Halimah is well accepted in the Malay community. This is not a question about her eligibility to stand. I just want to say that the whole maneuver stank. Busuk lah. We were racializing Singaporeans, reminding us of our differences instead of what binds us together. Hey, I also Indian, no, check it out. Now one member in the highest office in the land, not bad, one of our own. You know, when I got my new IC mate, I purposely chose this photograph. Must look a bit garang, right? Be proud of the beard. But then when I went to collect the IC, the officer was like, So the PAP's argument is that it changed the constitution to ensure ethnic diversity at the top. PAP, if you care so much about minority representation in the leadership, I have a suggestion. How about you try a non-Chinese PM for a change? Are we thinking about the same talented South Asian? The one who always blows us away with his intelligence and wit?
In Singapore, where you can grow up and become a beautiful Indian lady. What happens to beautiful Indian lady in Singapore? She becomes the president.
Think about it. If we are to take the PAP at face value, voters are supposed to believe that we cannot have a minority prime minister because of race, but we must have a minority president because of race. It is an intellectually disingenuous position. Not even Frank Underwood would pull a stunt like that.
It's not beginning the story that I fear. It's not knowing how it will end. Everyone is fair game now.
For those of you who still think that the PAP had only genuine intentions with the reserve presidency, I present to you the man who might one day be your Prime Minister.
Madam President, I think today is not the occasion for us to go through this again. Madam President, if I was about Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, sorry, my bad.
7 months before the election, there was won in a walkover. Well before Halimah even declared her candidacy, her colleagues were already calling it in her favor. They made a blatant mockery of our democratic processes. Every time you see Chan Chun Sing and Janil laughing in that video, every smirk, you know what that is? That is a big middle finger to you and me on national TV. Nanny boo boo, we are the 4G, you cannot touch us. You know, in over 20 years of observing democracies around the world, that was one of the most shameful things I have ever seen. You can forget everything else I say in my videos. That incident alone should make you want to vote against the PAP. But you know what? The natural aristocrats are betting that you won't.
Merdeka.
You know those cost of living surveys that rank Singapore as the costliest city in the world? And you know what the frequent response is from some politicians and the PAP fans? Don't worry about those surveys. Those are looking at a basket of goods that an expat would buy. It's not something that should concern ordinary Singaporeans. Our basket of goods is different. And you know what the subtext of that messaging is, right? Essentially, you and I shouldn't worry about, say, how much cheese costs at Jason's supermarket or how much beer costs in Robertson Quay. Those are not things that should bother us. As long as you and I can afford to eat cheap eggs from Hsien Loong, all is fine lah.